Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be painting a Chaos Space Marine. I'm pretty sure he's one of the chosen, not entirely certain. All I know is there's a shitload of trim. So basically what we're going through here is I'll run you through the base coat, what I've done to get the recesses nice and dark, and then go with the metallics. So to get the nice red colour, I've used the Colourforge Sanguine Red with a healthy dose of Berserker Bloodshade over the top. Now, I'm a very big believer in one colour in a shade will do it, so it's just finding what works with that style. I'm just lazy. I'm going to be honest, I don't have time to get out a wet palette for every single project, and if it works out of the pot, it works out of the pot. I find the layer or the blue Citadel pots, they tend to work best for me, but do you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. This is what works for me. So all I'm doing here is just going across with some Brass Scorpion, which will be toned down later on with some Reclaimed Flesh Shade. Now, this is a little bit of a different camera angle than in my first video. My first video, my phone was blue jacked to the top of a Vallejo paint pot, one of the 250mm pots, I think. Yeah, let's say that. It's one of the big airbrush primer ones. Yeah, I had to upgrade my setup. So now we're able to get good focused quality on them. So yeah, happy days. We like a good upgrade. Also didn't help that my ring light died just as I was starting to do the trim on this project, so now I've got on with an inbuilt mount, so I'm able to film stuff easier. So yeah. Now there's a lot of complaints from Chaos Space Marines players, or the only thing that puts people off is the fact that there is so much trim. Basically the bit that I'm putting the metallic paint around now. I would agree. And I wouldn't have started Chaos Space Marines unless, you know, if they didn't have such cool models, but they do. So yeah, that's the whole reason I got them, to be fair. They're just cool models, and the Combat Patrol was cheap on eBay. Otherwise I wouldn't have bothered. So yeah, this project took about 2 hours, start to finish. Lots and lots and lots of trim. Not the most fun thing in the world, but it's a nice way to de-stress after a day at work. Ultimately, this project isn't going to win any awards. I would be surprised if anybody says that it's good, to be fair. I'm just one of those painters. I'm not too proud of anything that I've done, apart from a couple of competition pieces that you can see on my Instagram. There's a loon boss that I did, one of those tiny little fellas from Age of Sigmar. He's perched on top of a mushroom. I'm going to enter him into a competition in April, which I'm not expecting to win, but In fact, I'm not expecting a damn thing from that. I'm going to be completely honest, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if anybody actually notices he's in the runnings, to be fair. But I've just finished another piece that I've been painting up off of camera. As a Eversort assassin. The one with the sniper rifle, and he's leaning against something, so I've gone, that looks a little bit Metal Gear Solid, so I've painted him up in one of the camos from the game, the splitter camo from MGS3. Shout out to my friend Tom for recommending that camo. He is probably the world's biggest virgin when it comes to Metal Gear Solid. But, you know, he knows his shit, and I don't, so that's why I asked him. And I've got another project in the works just to see if I can make the camo any better on Caven Shrike model from the something Ravens, Black Ravens I want to say. I might be wrong. It's a Chaos Space, or not Chaos, Space Marine chapter of some description. Not too interested in playing them, so it's a cool model. I'll see if I can paint it good enough to win something. And you know, it's always fun to challenge yourself on these types of things. And it's always while I'm doing the trim on Chaos Space Marines, I think these projects up, especially when the project takes borderline 2 hours. My mind's always wandering, those kinds of things anyway, so, you know, it's where I get some of the best thinking done. They're over on the toilet, to be fair. Some of the angles you have to contort yourself into to get the trim right. It's just insane. Look at that. What is happening there? You can't even see it. Honestly, I should have left the arms like off, had them in like a tool organizer or a bits box, and then just glued them together afterwards. That would have made so much more sense. But no, that involves logic, and I am a caveman when it comes to these kinds of things. What the fuck? Yeah. But, you know, with retrospect, that's something that I can do better, and something I have done with the projects that I've done recently. So, you know, and that's something that I probably will continue, to be fair. Just leave stuff part assembled, and then go from there, because it's overall just easier. Some parts, some push fit models that I've got, I can wiggle them apart and then do them like that, and then push fit back together. But it's a bit more effort than it's worth with some of the glue models. But that's what you get with these types of kits, I guess. Do you know, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, I fucking love the push fit models. They're just brilliant. I know they look a bit weird when, you know, you're used to being able to customize the models and glue them in different ways, but man, I just love them. I put together the Hexbane Hunters Underworlds team, and admittedly I was gluing them because I wanted to get rid of the seam lines and the join lines, but god damn, they're good fun to build. Apart from the main head honcho guy, who was an absolute pain, and I had to glue everything together, and I've still got a bloody seam line to fix, but you know, that kit's just so damn good. And it also comes with 2 dogs as well, so you can't hate that. You know, everybody loves a good boy. I have an idea for another video, and I would be interested to see if other people would be interested to see it too. There is a bit of a barrier of entry to Warhammer, I believe, with regards to the cost. It's a fucking expensive hobby to get into. So I would be interested if anybody would be interested in a beginner's budget-friendly guide. Basically, all I would be doing is buying a starter paint set from Citadel. Oops. Oopsie daisy. He went bye-bye. Blue Tax finally gave out on me. So yeah, all I'd be doing is getting one of them starter paint sets from Games Workshop. It comes with a paintbrush and clippers and a mold line remover, and use it on a free model of the month that you can get from Warhammer stores. I think that'd be an interesting idea for a video. But leave a comment if you think that would be worth me exploring, because it's something that I struggled with when I got into Warhammer, especially because I was an apprentice at the time, and also COVID, so you know, the prices just skyrocketed because every other fucker was trying to get into Warhammer. But yeah, let me know if that's something that you want me to look into. And I'm gonna dip for a minute because quite honestly, there's so much fucking trim that I can't be bothered to sit here and narrate over all of it. So it turns out there was a chunk of footage where I did most of the silvers. I've also started using a shade medium or a layer medium brush. I can't remember, it's one of the Citadel ones. So basically I've just done the chainmail loincloth bit and the mace with a coat of lead belcher, which sooner rather than later I'll be covering with Nuln Oil, I believe. But yeah, just liberally applying from the pot. I use a quite damp brush, so it doesn't tend to, the paint doesn't glob quite so much. It's not quite so viscous. So yeah, people seem to think that I'm some sort of heretic for that kind of thing, but you know, you do what you gotta do for the paint job that you're doing, and I just go quick and simple, so straight out of the pot it is. So yeah, we're just going over that plasma gun, just getting all of the nooks and crannies between what we've already done. It's quite nice using a coloured prime, I've used a green one before, and it just makes things pop so much more than a white or a black or a cream or something, because you can definitely tell where you've been and where the glaring gaps are. Especially on a model like this, it's like everything's red. Oh, that shouldn't be red. Give it another coat, you know what I mean? So it's always interesting to use different colours for a prime. pipe thing that's on the underbelly and the sides of that gun. I've left it a different colour. I've left it the red because it's going to be a different colour eventually. So it's easier to see when you've done the bit below, and if it's left the same colour as the prime, it's a hell of a lot easier to see, and see how much easier that is to spot afterwards. The only thing you want to be careful about is when you're doing it the way that I'm doing it here, not to get anything on the stuff you've already painted, or if you do get stuff on these things you've already painted, just clear it up quick as, nice and easy. And by this point I've painted so many bloody plasma weapons, it's almost a joke. out of order. Don't quite know what happened. I'm going to be 100% sure. Never mind. We live, we learn. I'm a big believer in finishing a project and then working on what you can do better next time. For example, the bit that I'm painting isn't in camera shot. All I'm doing here is just going over with Wraithbone for the face, the plasma section. I tend to use Wraithbone instead of white. It gives it a little bit more texture, and it covers a hell of a lot better than white does. So I'm covering over that aforementioned pipey area. Being fairly careful not to get anything on the actual gun. There's a couple of pipes on the chest as well, which I don't know why there's so much detail on these models. I'm grateful it's there, but fuck me, it makes a ball ache trying to get every little bit out. Like the obscene positions I have to put my camera in to try and get every bloody detail. Not the camera, the model, sorry. Established with the other Chaos Space Marines that I've been doing. It is purple flash tone. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run some Druchii Violet over the top. One of my favourite shade paints. And I didn't realise that shade paints were as cool as they are, or as useful as they are. So yeah, we're just going over creating that basic colour that will make it pop that little bit. Get some goopy bits on the backpack, just where it's got some water droplets and stuff. I thought that was a Death Guard player thing. Apparently not. So yeah, you can see that there was some pipes under there that we're going to do purple. You see what I mean? I should have just left the arm off and stored it with the model while I was waiting to paint it. But god damn, why do they put those details? Just kind of in reach, but also kind of not. Vexing things in the world. Well, no, it's not the most vexing thing in the world. It's first world model painting problems. Like, I'm in a very privileged position to be able to do this and enjoy the hobby in the way that I can. And if by last year's any metric, I spent a shit load of money on models as well. Jesus Christ, I bought too many. And my backlog to build is slightly piling up, so my backlog to paint is even worse, I think. So, it's one of those. Yep, found another pipe on the power weapon or force weapon. It's a big club. I don't know why they need to put a fancy name on it. So, yep. Here we are, we're cracking on with don't know what we're cracking on with. I would imagine this is the Black Templar / Black Legion. Yep, it is. See how that just covers nicely in there. And all we're going to do is just do bits that I can't be bothered to do normally. So the handle for the force weapon, instead of fannying around with leather or trying to get a nice brown, just going to slap on some black. I'd imagine it's seen some wear in the days since the heresy, so yeah, I can't be bothered. I'm just going to go from there. And also the hairline as well. Don't quite know why I've still got the tiny handled brush out. I would imagine it's just because I was doing the trim, the joints in between the armour, that kind of thing. Just going to give that a couple of passes just to make sure I get all of the red over. Just going to come in a little bit sloppier with the bigger brush with some Druchii Violet. Just slop it on. It hasn't got too many large surfaces to pull, so I'm not too fussed about it. It gives a nice bit of depth to the eyes as well, so I don't really have to bother painting them, to be fair. Considering things are already done for us, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. So, or whatever that saying is supposed to mean, I don't know, and I'm too scared to ask at this point. So yeah, we're just covering all of our bases, making sure it's all done. By now you're starting to see that it's nowhere near done, but it's starting to come together. You're able to see the colours sort of sitting together now nicely. And they're making sense as well. Thank you. Next we're going to cover the plasma with Hexwraith Flame. It's one of my favourite technicals as well, because it just does what it says on the tin. It is a damn good paint for energy, fire. That's basically the colour I've been using for my Chaos Space Marines as well. The Dark Disciple, Dark Apostle, whatever his bloody name is. That's the fire on his Bible, I guess. And that's all. Oh, man down. That's all. Hexwraith Flame as well. It's a damn good paint to be using. For the top knot, I think I'm using Mournfang Brown there. The wrap. Yep, that's Mournfang Brown. Lovely. And we're just going to touch that bit up. for this step, we're just going to use some Celestra Grey just to fill in the rock. Using a really tiny brush to make sure I don't get anything on the model. Just using a Sable 50 brush, and it's half the size it should be. I got it in 2020 when I first started for her eyes. Managed to fuck them up and started using it for metallic paints, and it's just clumped together by this point. So yeah, it needed a bit of a trim down, which I think is heresy, but I don't really care. Now we've done that fine detail, I think I've swapped out for a bigger brush. I think this is the Artificer layer paintbrush from Citadel. My one has seen the wars, my dude. It's seen some shit, so we're just going through that, making sure it's all nice and done. Okay, so we're just going back in, touching things up. First, we've got a lead ultra on the pipe connectors on the chest. They're not particularly fun. The clean-up step. So I always say I hate it, and I mean it. It sucks, but it's a necessary evil. We're just going through doing that. This is the Ryklon Flash Shade, whatever. Not too fast. We're just going over the brass bits, and you'll start seeing the tones it down quite a lot. Gives it a little bit more saturation. I think that's the term. I don't really care. Makes it a little bit warmer instead of just bright. So that'll tone that down and make things feel a bit more worn in look. best part with this part is that you don't need to be too careful with it. I've got a small brush out, but that's only a formality really. Realistically, you could use a way bigger brush. As long as it doesn't really get onto the silver, you're fine. Shit, even if it does get onto the silver, I don't think it's the end of the world. It's just one of those. Yeah, it's one of those, man. Like, if it gets onto the red, what's it gonna do? Warm it up a little bit? Oh no, who cares? This model's not going to be seen in a cabinet with all those bright lights on it. It's not going to have a macro lens taking fantastic pictures of it. It's not going to be on the cover of White Dwarf. Who gives a toss? It's going to be on the tabletop. I'm not too fussed. I just need it done by this point. Do you know? So, yeah. Too many Chaos Space Marines, not enough time. Very tatty old Citadel base brush, just brushing on some Astro Granite, filling in all the gaps on the base, making sure it's all tied together. Now, I'm not normally fussy when it comes to bases, especially when it's a tabletop model like this, but I found using a brush works really well for trying to get that no spill over the brim. Oh, there are jokes to be made there, but I am not stooping to that. No sir. So we're going back in, just making sure there's a bit more texture, giving it a bit of a clumping. So we let that dry overnight. Come back 24 hours later, and we're coming back in with Agrax Earthshade. Agrax, I'm not. Do you know, half the paint colours in the Citadel range, I don't know whether they're A or B. Do you know what I mean? I've heard it Abaddon, I've heard it Abaddon. You know, it's one of those. I don't know, I don't really care. You know what I mean? So we're just going in with a nice healthy coat of Agrax Earthshade. Just giving it a nice tickle, so to speak. But it definitely tones down the base, stops it being too light and detracting from the model. So I like a good dark base. It's definitely less textured than the one that I did before. But this one's already got the rock that he's resting on, so I didn't want to make it too ostentatious. There we go. And we're just going to come back in with the Nuln Oil. I obviously forgot to zoom back in on this bit. But we let the base dry just so I can manhandle it a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not sticking my thumb in wet paint. We've let it dry adequately. There we go. I've remembered to zoom in. Again, the consummate professional oozes out of me. I am so very good at this. And after that, we're just going to give the base a lovely rim. So yeah, that's the finished product. He's nice and done. So yeah, I can't see much wrong with him. I know there are ways that I can improve. I know there are ways that I will improve, in fact. So yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.